Welcome to the Ring Spaces studio in Neil on Business. Neil on Business is a show where we dig deep into the entrepreneurial mindset and try to discover what makes business success, from discipline to disruption. I'm your host, Neil Darling, entrepreneur, father, husband, and straight shooter when it comes to what it really takes to win in business. Each week, I'll plan to sit down with movers and shakers ranging from former Marines, business leaders, bold thinkers, and disruptors who traded uniforms for boardrooms and built successful businesses and brought the attitude and fortitude required for success. If you're looking for real conversations about leadership, grit, and building something that lasts, you're in the right place. Let's get to work.
I'll take drums.
Hey, welcome.
What's going on?
How you doing?
Doing great. 10 out of 10.
That is so great. Well, I am Neil Darling, and this is Ring Spaces, and this is Neil on Business. So I appreciate having my latest guest here today, who happens to be a customer of ours.
Favorite customer?
What favorite customer? Maybe, sometimes. This is Sam McGregor, Clan McGregor.
That's right.
Sam, you join us here. You work for a company called
Bracco Jewelry and Watch Insurance.
That's boring. We're going to talk about insurance. Maybe not. But anyway, let's just maybe start. Let me just ask you a couple. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Sam. Just like, where do you come from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually born in Fredericksburg, Virginia, right down the road, Old Mary Washington Hospital, May 11th, 1990. Wow. So I just had my number 35 last Sunday on Mother's Day. Shout out to Patty Mack. Happy Mother's Day. And yeah, grew up around here playing hockey. So shout out to FXBG hockey.
So where'd you go to high school?
Chancellor High School.
Chancellor, okay.
Yeah, so switched over to wrestling after a while. Whooped a lot of butts in my day.
All right, so when did you graduate high school?
2008.
Oh, you're youngin'. You're youngin', so.
And tell Brian, your son, if he ever wants a showdown, we can set up a mat right out here in Ring Spaces. I'm ready for him.
Yeah, we were talking about that. So I have twin boys.
He was nowhere to be found.
Also wrestled. We'll talk about your wrestling career a little bit about hockey. Okay. So when did you start wrestling? Was that your first love or? No,
so hockey was, and then I realized very quickly, without any ice around whatsoever, I wasn't going to make it to the NHL as a 5'6" fat kid. So I took up wrestling, when I had an asthma attack mid-basketball tryouts in the 8th grade, and my coach had to carry me to the locker room to take my inhaler in front of everyone. My closest buddies had an intervention with me in gym class and said, "Hey, Sammy, might be time to lose some weight. All your buddies are on the wrestling team. Why don't you come out?" So joined the wrestling team, fell in love with the sport.
What do you love about the sport?
You know what? It's every man for himself. You have the team environment, but no excuses. You put in the work or you don't. You're the only person out there on the mat, but you still get that team environment. You go through a lot together, cutting weight, and it's a grinding sport. So you make a lot of connections with a lot of hard-headed but hardworking people. Took that on to University of Virginia, where I wrestled as a walk-on. I was like the 18th person in my weight class ladder when I started in my freshman year or first year at UVA, as they call it there in Charlottesville.
What weight did you wrestle? So
I was back and forth between 141 and 149. Shout out to Nick Nelson. He's going to give me some weight cutting jokes here after he sees this. But he whooped my butt for about 4 years straight until I made it to I was the number 2 guy by the end of my career. I would start whenever Nick Nelson would, crack a rib or, be injured. They'd let Sammy Diamond step in and take the mat here and there. So.
Tell me about this McGregor. Are you guys first generation, second generation Scottish or?
Yeah, so I don't know the full history. My sister recently visited Glasgow and, met some distant family members and everything like that. But that comes from my father's side of the family. He comes from Boston, Boston guy.
Boston. Are you a Red Sox fan?
I'm not a big Red Sox fan. My dad, huge Red Sox fan growing up, huge Bruins fan. He was buddies when he was a kid with a pitcher you may recognize, John Tudor. He was a great pitcher. I want to say late 80s. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so big baseball family. I'm more of a, Orioles fan, Cal Ripken guy myself. But yeah, back to the McGregor side. My grampy, I think he was born in the North Shore, Boston area, but I think his father was a shipbuilder over in Scotland. Beyond that, I don't know too much about it. Would love to know, though.
Yeah. You eat haggis at home?
Never had it. No. Heard it's terrible. I think willing to try, but
yeah. So you've never been to the UK? You've never been to Scotland?
Never been. Nope. Yeah. Would love to go.
Yeah, you look like you might fit in there.
Yeah, I got my McGregor clan tattoo here on my chest. If I could tell you a quick story about my McGregor tattoo. So about 8 years ago, my brother, shout out to Tom, and my sister Jenny, we all decided to get some tattoos together. Mm. So, my brother has a tattoo artist. He has several tattoos. And, he sets us up with an appointment. The guy, is always booked up. So
is it a collarbone tattoo, or is it?
It's here. I'll just show you.
Show the camera. Yeah, show the camera.
Oh, that's there. Yep.
Clan McGregor.
Yep. Rogo Modrium, Latin, royal is my race.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty badass if you ask me, but I don't know. So my brother gets us into his tattoo artist, and guy always has a 2-month wait list, slips us in. So he says, Jenny, Sam, you guys are going today, and I'll get mine later. Mm-hmm. Okay, no problem. Didn't think anything of it. So my brother's renting an apartment with me at the time. Comes home from the apartment. Hey, good news. I got the tattoo. Oh, great. Let's see it. Where'd you get it? Pulls up his sleeve. It's Jesus riding a unicorn. Tom, that's not the family tattoo that we talked about. Oh, yeah, no worries. So long story short, I won't get into all the details of his other tattoos, but that happened 3 more times, and he got his tattoo about a month ago. Oh, really? 8 years later.
Well, so. Okay, I got to sidetrack here, but why did he get Jesus riding a unicorn?
I have no idea. Yeah. I think it's something to do with that Dogma movie with Ben Affleck. Okay. I couldn't tell you. We'll have to ask him sometime.
So
I'll get back to you on it.
We got to have him in here next.
He's a character.
We have to improve the lighting and take all the clothes off to see all the tattoos. It's a family program. Though.
Yeah, we'll get Zach to hold him down.
Exactly. All right, so you were talking a little bit about wrestling. So what weight did you wrestle? Tell everybody again.
So back and forth between 141 and 149. So as the number 2 guy, didn't exactly always keep my weight down where it needed to be, but did some last minute weight cutting, and back and forth between those 2 weights. If you're curious, I weigh 199 right now.
Yeah. So would you recommend that kids wrestle in high school?
I think that every 12 to 14-year-old should be required to do 1 year of wrestling.
Yeah.
I think that it transcends other sports with agility, balance, athleticism. Just like soccer, baseball, basketball, hockey helped me with wrestling, same concept. I think it's just something that everyone should do for a year, just for balance, coordination, also dedication, and, toughen you up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a son who's a former wrestler at Forge, and now he's in 28, 27. He's a state trooper, and that's one. Yeah. But I remember being out and talking to him about being out in the highway, and, can't lose. You got to hang in there. You got to, we got to wait longer than 6 minutes for 9 minutes for somebody to show up. So, but I remember the proudest moment I had was him getting beat up out there, but not losing on points and not letting himself get pinned.
Right.
Like he just survived. Yep. And I thought I was. You think you'd be happy when you win. You are, but I was happier when he doesn't lose.
Yeah.
So, the frustration of the skilled wrestler kicking his tail and couldn't finish it like you wanted to. That is
frustrating.
That's the shout out to my son Kevin. All right, so wrestling is formative. So you end up walking on to UVA. How does somebody get into UVA? You must not be a dummy. That's good. And to be, you just said, "Oh, I got a pass. I'm just going to go," or did the coach say you're guaranteed walk on type, get a guaranteed tryout type thing, or did you have any conversations, or you just sort of show up?
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting experience. I got good grades at, Chancellor, but I wasn't expecting to get into UVA, and definitely didn't get in there remotely anything having to do with wrestling. So I always say, I think I wrote a really good essay or something. But yeah, I just reached out. I was annoying as heck to shout out to Steve Garland, G-Bone, still coaching at UVA, just made it to the Wrestling Coach Hall of Fame, or Wrestling Hall of Fame, a couple weeks ago, actually. So congrats to him. UVA golf outing, August 23rd. It's a Saturday, sign up. But yeah, I was just super annoying. I started reaching out, end of my senior year to him via email and the other, couple of schools I got into, and he said, great, just if you want to come here, you're already in. You got to go through the tryout process. And let's see, Scotty O'Donnell and Dave Ebbett whooped my butt for 30 minutes in the UVA wrestling room. I didn't score one takedown. I didn't get one escape. I got murdered for 30 minutes. It was absolutely brutal. So he takes me into the, office, and I'm thinking he's going to say, hey, listen, that was real bad. Thanks for showing up. Glad you're coming to school here. Not going to make it. Yeah. He goes, hey, you know how to wrestle, but this is college. It's different from high school. Kind of happens to it happens to, some top recruits that come out of here, and these guys that have a couple years, wrestling college experience. It's just a different animal. He said, hey, you're on the team if you want. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. You're sixth guy in your weight class, but, if you lose a little weight and get a little better, you might be starting against Okie State next week, So, I stuck it out, and, it was great. And
Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger.
So you had to work your way up from 6 to...
Yeah, it was very brutal. I don't think I scored a takedown in the practice room for a solid year. First thing I did, I had to wait a couple days to, paperwork and get approved with the, NCAA clearinghouse. But I show up, don't even have my, UVA gear yet. So I have some like Virginia high school state tournament shirt on, BS like that. And Kellen Balaam. So first thing we did, I hung from a pull-up bar for 15 minutes. Sounds easy. One of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to, I'd last 5 minutes right now. So after that, we were doing hand fighting, like snap downs and hand fighting in groups of 4. And Kellen Balaam, he snapped my head through the mat the very first time. He grabbed the back of my neck, and I blacked out a little bit, had no idea what was happening. It was like, holy shit, what did I just get myself into? But yeah, I stuck it out, and, tons of lifelong,
So when did you get your first matches?
Stuff.
Was like sophomore year or junior year? Or?
So I was wrestling open tournaments throughout, so like if you're redshirting or if you're a non-starter, you still travel around all over the country and get matches in mat time. So I was doing that. But my first on the roster, like UVA singlet, their home match was actually my senior year. I want to say one of the first, it was like a try match. So they threw me in against one of the easier teams, and I just completely waxed this guy from, I want to say like Anderson or Campbell or something like that. One of the smaller schools. Yeah. So, but yeah, just finally got my Rudy Rudiker moment there. So.
What people were they?
All the guys loved it. It was great. Yeah, I had people come in from all over. It was totally a Rudy moment. So.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Now, did you end up getting a scholarship because you were
not even close? Not even close.
So you just decided to kind of ruin your entire college experience by going to wrestling practice, get beat up every day.
Absolutely miserable. Going to practice at 6:30 in the morning, get beat up and then do it again in the afternoon. You're going to class all day. You're cutting weight all years. It was brutal, but it was, like I said, very valuable, great experience, lifelong friends, and holy smokes, it really gives you a grinding work ethic. A lot of stuff I do now, I just laugh it off because it's just, you have that ingrained in you now. So
what did you major in there?
Foreign affairs. So I started in the engineering school.
Yeah.
Quickly realized not going to happen. Yeah. Transferred out real quick to the College of Arts and Sciences and Foreign Affairs, which is a part of the international relations degree there at UVA.
Yeah. Did you minor in anything? Or?
No. I was struggling enough just to.
Minored in wrestling. Yeah.
Minored in wrestling. Yeah.
So that goes on. You get through there in 4 years. So give me a time frame. When was that? When did you go?
Yeah. So I graduated in May of 2012. And then immediately started, you didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, knew I wanted to, something with sales. So I jumped right into selling insurance with Geico. Mm-hmm. Job market was a little tough back then in 2012.
Common place to go for a group, especially around here. Mm-hmm. Up in Bethesda, there's a group up there too. So
Geico, cut my teeth real quick there with high volume leads and calls and sales. So
a lot of structure too, a lot of KPIs. Either you do the KPIs or you leave.
Exactly.
That's the way it is now anyway. Yeah.
And shout out to James Reed. So he was my first boss and one of my best buddies. And this guy and the other supervisors, they were riding me pretty tough because they knew I was a wrestler and we were having some fun together and stuff. But man, they were riding me pretty hard, and they broke me mentally one day at the end of my shift. I got stuck on a call 1 minute before shift's over, call comes in. It's 35 minutes later, and they're in my ear, telling me what to say while customers bitching me out, basically.
Yeah, we call that whisper.
Whisper. It was brutal. And they were just
telecom business,
they were just heckling me bad, and I broke mentally, and I'll never forget it. I grabbed James by the back of his neck. This is my boss. And we're in cubicles and stuff, and I just grab him by the back of the neck. I act like I'm going to knee him in the face, and I stop it right here. And he just goes, "Yeah, we're good. We won't heckle you anymore." He got married a couple month or two ago. Shout out to James.
Yeah. So but I guess he's not at Geico anymore either.
No. He's with another company, Cover Whale. I think they do commercial trucking insurance, I believe. So he's doing great.
You're still in the insurance business. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all right. So how long are you at Geico for?
I was there probably 18, 20 months, something like that. And I was actually taking a marketing course through Bracco and Germana or something like that. Maybe one of your friends or acquaintances from the hockey world, Neil Mayers.
The Mayers. I know the Mayers family.
Shout out to Neil. But I was taking his course, and second class in, he called roll and said, "And Sam McGregor wrestled at Chancellor High School?" I go, "Yeah, why do you know that?" He goes, "We'll talk after class." I go, really? This is not good. But he ended up knowing one of the other wrestling, parents or something like that. So we made a connection there, and he helped me get set up with an interview at my next role in supply chain with, global automotive manufacturer Continental, who had a plant out in Culpeper. They just shut down, unfortunately, a couple months ago now, but they were stable in manufacturing in Culpeper for the last 40-something years. So, but that's where I got introduced to supply chain. I was a supply chain analyst there in the OES. So basically, 37, something like that, plants at the time when I was there for the 4 years that I was there, from 2014 to 2018-ish. You had tons of plants all over the world that make extra parts that get consolidated in Culpeper, and then they're, one of the biggest North American hubs for service parts that go, all across the different, service centers for Toyota, Ford, everybody. So I was the account manager for everybody but the big three, which is Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Shout out to Dana Kiner. She taught me everything I know there at Continental. She was the account manager for the big three, and I had everybody else. So
what did they make there? So it's just a little widget, right? It was not something they don't make tires. They make just some.
Right. Something. So you have Continental Tire, which is one division, and you have Continental Automotive, the other division. And that plant in Culpeper, the only product they made were aluminum valve blocks, which for every vehicle, and vert, four-door, two-door sport, everything that you can imagine for any vehicle, they make, valve blocks for that. So they're just machines all day long drilling the different holes and that's your aluminum hardware unit that mounts to your ABS unit and the electronic parts that, vehicle stability control,
for brakes,
or going over the line, stuff like that. So all the new brake mechanisms and designs that have come out in the last 15 years, that's the hardware unit that gets attached to that.
So they just moved that factory somewhere else, do you think, or
I want to say they consolidated. Yeah, I think they can, there's some other larger plants down in the North Carolina, Morganton, North Carolina, and Henderson I want to say they consolidated the aluminum side down in North Carolina, where they have the electronic side, the ECUs and ICUs and everything, with all that holds software for, depending on the model, on how you brake and what goes on there. I think they consolidated down there, not 100% sure, but the unit I was involved in was the OES, the consolidation and packaging for all the service parts. And I want to say they consolidated that department with their Allentown location, something like that. Not 100% sure, yeah.
So did you end up living in Culpeper?
No, I just commuted from Fredericksburg.
Oh, you did?
I didn't mind, it's no traffic. It's not like 95 to DC or Richmond, so, but 45-minute round trip, or the way I drive, about 30 minutes, Michaela. So that I was there from June 2014 to about February 2018. When I made my roll into the this crazy jewelry industry.
So tell us about that. You were doing your moonlighting as a jeweler. Is that what you're doing, or you decided that was your passion, or?
Well, so, this might be the most interesting part of my story. And shout out to Natter LOR, my best buddy in the world, and his family, the LOR family. So they own D&D Jewelers and Crisella up in the Woodbridge area. So D&D in Fredericksburg and Crisella up in Woodbridge in the Stonebridge Shopping Center. But I get a call. So he wrestled with me since we started the same year at Chancellor Middle School in 8th grade. And we've been best buddies ever since. Been whooping his ass since 2004, whatever it was. So, but I get a call from this guy one day, and he says, "Sammy, I need you to quit your job at Continental. I need you to come work for me and kind of take over D&D, so I can go open a new brand called Crisella that I'm working on." And I said, "Hey, thanks for the call. You're crazy. Maybe call someone that has any jewelry experience whatsoever or is halfway interested in it. I'm not your guy."
Right.
So I'm like, "Hey, I'll help you find somebody, but not doing it."
Thanks, no thanks, yeah.
So he just pesters me for the next couple of weeks, and I got to tell this story. He's going to kill me for this, but he waits till I have a hernia surgery. I had an ongoing open hernia just from wrestling that I wasn't taking care of, so I get the surgery on it. So this guy waits until I'm kind of out of it from the recovery, and you're on some painkillers and stuff like that, and the guy shows up at my door, and he says, hey, I'm going to take you out to eat. And so he takes me to a restaurant. I won't say which restaurant because he'll kill me. But he grabs me a Miller Lite and talks me into quitting my job 2 weeks later and joining D&D Jewelers. So, and from there it was just, I cut my teeth very quickly in the jewelry industry. He taught me everything I know there, and it was a wild ride for sure. And we were able to make sure D&D was taken care of and doing really well. And he was able to open Crisella, which just really blew up. Either one of those stores, if you just search best jewelry store in Virginia, in Fredericksburg, that D&D has 600 plus 5-star Google reviews. Next one up on the list is going to have maybe 150 tops. Same thing with Crisella. So they're absolutely crushing it.
For people that don't know, where's D&D?
So D&D is, if you're, everyone knows where Batteries Plus is off Route 3.
Yep.
And it's in the same shopping center there.
Gotcha.
Westwood Village, in that area.
Okay, good. Okay.
And shout out to the LOR family, and rest in peace, Mr. LOR. He taught me everything I know at that store too. And it was just really great to learn from that family. And, so his father opened the original D&D before Natter was born, and changed it conveniently to D&D for an easy name and letter change. But that was 1971, I want to say, his first, little jewelry outlet in it was either, I know they were in Bellingham, Washington, but also California too. So I can't remember which one was first, but he came over from Lebanon in 71, and just, holy smokes, the work ethic on that guy. Did the whole one-man show forever and did really good business, and passed it on down to his son and everything. Whole family business too. Mrs. LOR, she helps run the show up there at Crisella, and the sisters, Diana and Dima, and everyone over there, they're doing great. So
it's fascinating that he just targeted you, and he closed you. He saw something in you, and look at you now. It's a whole journey, but it's your whole career. It's just so. Not to get too, but it's so weird how sometimes those kind of interactions end up it's like something you do every day and then have an impact on you 20 years from now. It's just so funny how life is. So you go there. Do you get any kind of formal training or anything, or how did you become a gemologist at some point, or what did you do? Yeah,
so I let Natter. He goes by Andrew. It's just easier for a lot of people, so I'll call. So Natter, he sent me in person to GIA, their headquarters in Carlsbad, California, for a week crash course just to learn all the bench work and all the physical work that goes on for manufacturing and repairing and soldering and laser welding, stone setting, just quick crash course on that. But I also did, online coursework through GIA, which is Gemological Institute of America, kind of the premier and top tier diamond and gemstone grading lab out there that's around. So, I did coursework and got my AJP, so Applied Jewelry Professional Certificate. And I just made it very clear I'm not interested in doing the long-term coursework to become an actual gemologist. More interested in the business and operations side. Let's boost sales and, find efficiencies here and there and grow the business. And
you had a passion for sales.
Exactly. 100%. Sales and ops. So
what advice, just, you're not in the business now. You're certainly not in, jewelry store business, but if somebody is looking for a special piece of jewelry, what advice would you give them if, can't bring you along with them to help them pick out that special thing? Right? What advice do you have for people that are shopping around?
Absolutely. I think big thing is do your homework. So there's so much information out there now that the jewelry industry used to be a very mysterious business, which is why there used to be a lot more margins. So, you have your online retailers, you have GIA, you have IGI, all these labs out there with online. You can find whatever you want to know about jewelry online. So do a little homework, but it's very important to go into a store, find a store like D&D or Crisella that has amazing Google reviews. It's very difficult to have such a big customer base and keep a 5-star rating with a high volume of rating. So find a store like that you're comfortable with, someone that a friend, a family member, someone that can personally recommend you to, a family jeweler, something like that, and go in, see your diamond in person, test the jeweler out, get their expert advice. One thing that we used to do is invite customers into the store. It doesn't matter if you do your homework or you already bought a stone online, it's on the way from Blue Nile or James Allen or whoever. Come in and it's very tough to match those prices because they're doing high volume online e-commerce sales. But holy smokes, if you can give independent jeweler or family jeweler or in-person jeweler the time to do their homework, 9 times out of 10, they can match online and get you a better stone. So one thing that you can't find from a diamond certificate, like a GIA report, is what it actually looks like in person. So there's certain specs that kind of, you can look at a stones report and say it fits into this criteria where it should be good. Hey, it's excellent cut, it's excellent polish, excellent symmetry, your crown and pavilion angles are good, your girdle thickness is good, but you don't really know what a stone looks like and how it sparkles until you see it in person, till you see it outside in the sunlight, till you see it under different lighting circumstances. That's what you go into a store, someone you trust, get a recommendation from a friend.
Right. Okay. And it sounds like the businesses are driven by recommendations for sure.
100%. 100%. Age-old industry, and it's just trust is everything in that industry. Once you break trust with somebody once, word is going to spread, and it's really hard to hide stuff like that. So if you find someone that has stood the test of time and still getting good recommendations, online reviews, it's for a reason. Yeah. So D&D for how many years? I was there for almost 5 years. 5 years. Yeah. So you, part of that, when you're looking and evaluating, people have a checkup on their gem, you'd see that it was loose or something happened or it came apart or it got lost. So did that segue into your interest of combining your experience initially with insurance and now with jewelry? Not really. I cut my teeth so quickly, like just dropped into the fire there with Natter, and we just figured everything out. So I saw every circumstance that you could see quickly in a quicker amount of time than most people do in the jewelry industry. And my goal was always, and I told Natter this, when we agreed to work together and everything, was let's do 4 or 5 years. And the goal for me was understand how to run a business, cut my teeth in business operations, running the show, and sales and operations and growing a business. And then let's figure out the next thing, make sure the businesses are doing well, and it's a good time to kind of ride off into the sunset. And that's where I would always wanted to get back into supply chain, because I was involved with, SAP integrations with Continental and testing, manufacturing process and methods and making sure it works well with the computer system. And I kind of had a knack for that, connecting your end user, manufacturer, packager with that engineer that they don't usually talk the same language. And I can kind of conceptually get with both, understand what both are trying to say, and make sure the system works for it. And can never code or do any engineering, but I can conceptually talk with most engineers and get done what needs to get done to make it work for the end user. And about 4 years into my time with DND is when I noticed the position, jeweler channel manager with Bracco, pop up on LinkedIn. So shout out to Dustin Lemick, our CEO there. And I reached out to him on LinkedIn and said hi. And, the rest is history from there. I think that was July of, we probably started talking in May or June of 2022. But I started formally with, I spent a full month out in Chicago and Evanston, Illinois, that July of 22. And then we were working on, kind of timing my departure with backfilling me and stuff like that at the same time.
So talk about your role, Bracco. What's your role now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am heavily involved with our jeweler channel, which is B2B sales and operations with jewelers that recommend our insurance to their customers. Mm-hmm. And then our main sales lead there is we have a state-of-the-art, just world-class free appraisal software. We give it away completely free to the jeweler. Mm-hmm. And the only catch there is when they send the appraisal to the customer, we get access to send their customer a Bracco insurance quote. Mm-hmm. And then I'm also heavily involved with our agent channel. So that's just business operations and sales with insurance agencies and agents, independent aggregators, just anything agent. And we appoint them with Bracco so that they can sell our insurance and get a commission. So instead of tacking on your jewelry insurance to a homeowner's policy, they're going to recognize the benefits of Bracco and, sell a homeowner's policy, car, medical, whatever they're selling, and then sell the Bracco jewelry policy standalone, save the customer some money, extra benefits on coverage, more comprehensive, everything like that. And then we have a new product. It involved somewhat in the sales operations, not heavily involved yet or anything, but wedding and event insurance. So that's a huge one. It's taken off very quickly.
I have 5 kids. Fifth one's graduating Friday from Virginia Tech, my last one. But I have 3 of them that are married. So we talked about some wedding stories. And, and really, it's just interesting that you guys are, I don't say pivoting, but it's expanding in a very unique way where you're looking not just at, it's kind of the full supply chain of a wedding, where you're looking, certainly the ring is what kind of starts the process. And, obviously you have insurance, but you also have the event that's coming. So it's kind of a neat thing that you have. I guess you have different stories to tell us, but where people can actually insure the event, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's marketed as wedding insurance. But there's other, bar mitzvahs, stuff like that, other birthday parties, so there's a lot of events that it could encompass. But yeah, so it's event and liability insurance, includes host liquor liability, things like that. Standard 1 million, 2 million liability, 2 million aggregate, but we have upper limits too. I'm not as involved with the wedding insurance, so don't quote me on it. I want to say we can go up to like 20 million for liability. So we have some pretty high limits and can cover a very wide range of,
you can cover a Saudi wedding then.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, the other side of it too is we have optional cancellation coverage. Yeah. So, I like to call it change of heart coverage, but we've all heard the stories. And I want to say I was talking to the state trooper son, and he had a story about they had a friend or something. But we all know how much these weddings cost. So,
brother-in-law,
cancellation or postponement. There's a lot of different, features that are involved in the coverage, but the cancellation that starts, I want to say at only $82, something like that. And the liability and event insurance, that starts at $102 and goes up from there depending on your add-ons. If you want to add medical payments, things like that, or other optional coverages. The bigger the wedding, the more costly, it's going to cost a bit more, but it's very, we're industry's best as far as pricing and coverage and benefits go. So
I'm trying to remember the insurance commercial with the chaos guy that goes drives the golf cart through Progressive. I don't know what it is. It's like Nationwide or I don't know, one of them, but I should know because it's so funny. But that guy
he's always busting through the roof.
Everything collapses on all your guests.
Right.
So your customers pretty much, is it venues or is it customers? Is it brides and grooms?
Yeah. So it's direct to consumer, but we do, we do partner with venues and wedding planners. They can have free access to our amazing sleek dashboard that kind of tightens up this whole process of no one really knows that you have so much going on when you're planning a wedding. You got your planner telling you to go through someone, this company, they're all on paper and it's difficult. They don't know to go through the venue, the planner, or whoever. So our platform kind of just makes it easy on the end consumer, the planner, the venue. It's all electronic. It's very easy. And then through our planners and venues, we can apply a small, I think a 5% discount, something like that, to the end consumer if they get the coverage through our venue and planner partners. But any customer can just go on brite.co, brite.co, and we have a wedding insurance, section and drop down, and you can just get a quote directly there. You fill out a couple real quick, easy questions, and you get a quote in like 30 seconds.
So if I'm a bride or groom, whoever wears the ring, and you're
a good looking bride,
and you want to, I dress up well. So if you want to say you didn't get diamond insurance, for example, or jewelry insurance, should they talk to you direct, or should they go to one of your partners, one of your participating stores, because they obviously have to get the appraisal done as part of the coverage? Do they call you to get referred to somebody, or how does that work?
Yeah. Best thing to do is just do it right online, brite.co. And it is a newer product for us. So we launched beginning of this year sometime. So we're actively recruiting, and we've been recruiting a ton of planners and venues. But best thing to do is just get that quote directly online. You get a quote right away. You can buy it right away. You can let it sit and do your homework, whatever. You can get your coverage right away. And then great thing to do is, if you hear this and you want a little discount on it, tell your venue or your planner about it. And then if we get in touch with them, we can, through the venue or planner, get a 5% discount to that end consumer.
My friend Michaela here may be opening a venue with her family at some point. So should somebody who runs in a venue contact you?
100%. Yep, absolutely.
So that's just sort of a line item on the quote saying, hey, do you want insurance with that? And then they go into your system, put it in, and then they get coverage right away. Yeah,
and consumer, they get their quote directly online. And then one of the questions in the application is what venue it is. I think we ask if they have a wedding planner. I'm pretty sure we ask that in the application, but we always ask, they're required to list the venue so we can kind of reach out to them. And also know, we need to know, as far as our COI or, certificate of insurance, how to list certain things, additional insureds, how the venue needs listed. And then, we get with the venue to hopefully partner with them, and then they can supply, those discounts to all their customers that come.
So who underwrites Bracco? Is it like Lloyd's of London, or is it some, is it like, is there layers there, or is it just one company that you work with, or is it self-underwritten? How does that work?
Yeah, so we're underwritten by Glencar, and they're AM's Best, A+, and they're a section of Hanover Re, so global animal, at any time they're top 5 in the world in reinsurance, and so it's underwritten by Glencar, backed by Hanover Re, who's also an investor in Bracco. So we love working with them. They're absolutely great. But very comprehensive coverage on both the wedding insurance and the consumer jewelry insurance side. And so right now we're completely consumer facing. Same thing on the jewelry insurance side. It's all Glencar, Hanover Re. So same carrier, underwriter for both, same paper and everything. All AM's Best, A+.
Yeah, good. And you guys are well regarded, good reviews and all that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. If we're not 5-star, we're definitely 4.9 star on, anything that you could find, which is really tough to do as an insurance company, by the way, because guess who's writing all these reviews? People that have insurance claims. Right. Those are most of them. So when you get through a claims experience, which is a traumatic experience, when your wedding gets ruined, or if you lose a $50,000 engagement ring, which is covered by mysterious disappearance, part of our comprehensive coverage, by the way, not always included on homeowners insurance. That's a traumatic experience, and most people are not very happy after going through a claims process with very high regard and rating.
Yeah, and I think it's like, just so people know, it's like 0.2% of the value of the diamond, right? Just like on a premium, it's really inexpensive.
Very inexpensive. Yeah. So whatever your total insured value is, we average 1 to 1.1% of that for the premium. So $10,000 engagement ring, about $100 per year to insure.
Oh, okay. I was going by month, but it's like $8 a month or something. Yeah.
Very inexpensive.
So it's real. So to give people a ballpark, if they're saying, why not do this? I mean, it'd be silly not to do it.
Silly not to do it. Yeah. Homeowners insurance, you're going to be at least double that, most times 2.5. Our competitors and even those riders, a lot of times they're not as comprehensive coverage as what's automatically insured through a Bracco standalone policy.
Right.
So we have 125% replacement value. So market spikes, you're covered. Gold market's crazy, diamond market's nuts. So like this market's wild. So it's up and down, dips, dives, ducks. You're covered 125%.
Does the policy always start with an appraisal?
So we streamline the heck out of this thing as much as we can. So if receipts are detailed enough from your jeweler, your retailer, we can accept those in lieu of an appraisal. We like appraisals. We like them newer, but we can take old. We've taken a 40-year-old appraisal because it was detailed enough, and we have the technology with our appraisal platform to update the value to today's market. So you're not trying to get you just proposed to Mrs. Darling with her, I think you guys are pretty young, so you probably have your 5-year anniversary coming up here, right?
Now.
So,
we're going to propose any day now.
Yeah, you're going to do your re-proposal, right? And so you're going to want to get her insurance. And the last thing you want to do is have to say, hey, I can't get insurance until I go back to the jeweler and get that appraisal. Right, yeah. Giant pain in the butt. So
so if you do it on transaction day, that's fine. That would be easiest probably to get it. You get it from day one. But if you have to go back, you can go online and it's a streamlined process.
And then the good thing for jewelers out there, like D&D Jewelers and Crisella, this is where I learned about Bracco, was from using Bracco's free appraisal platform and seeing how tech forward they were. And so that's what really struck my interest with them. When I was just thinking about supply chain and how do I get out of the jewelry industry at the time, it was just such a good segue for me with jewelry, where I have all this new, skills and understanding, and then loop it in with all this tech stuff. So I did like 1,000 Bracco appraisals through their platform before working for them. So jewelers out there, we offer a free appraisal platform. So one thing about jewelers is appraisals are not a moneymaker. You can spend an hour on a appraisal, charge $100 for it, or you can spend 5 minutes selling a $50,000 engagement ring. So what are you going to do there? So our free appraisal platform, it saves you a ton of time on appraisals. It includes things like a GIA integration, an IGI integration. So type in that diamond report number, boom, all your diamond specs are now in the appraisal. We're integrated with a bunch of different point of sales operations. We're actively integrating with the Edge point of sale and doing a beta with them right now. So they're the largest jewelry point of sale platform out there. So we're very tech forward.
So as a former jeweler and certainly in the business now, tell me about a manufactured diamond, a chemical diamond. It says, I just have this diamond, I don't have the receipt, from 5 years ago, and they go and get it appraised. Are they good enough that you can tell a manufactured diamond from a real diamond?
Let me put it like this, Neil. I have seen so many diamonds in my time. Something like a moissanite, like from over there, I can tell you it's a moissanite. Like you can have a microscope, you can have all these testers, but the eye test, my eye test is unmatched. A lab created diamond, no human, not my eye test, not my microscope, not my best tools that I would have access to, cannot tell the difference whatsoever between a lab created diamond or a natural earth mined diamond. They're that close, they're chemically the same. Right. They're just made in the lab. They're a lot less expensive. It's making the market and the industry crazy. So prices have been dropping like wild on lab created diamonds.
So how do you handle that on the insurance side? I mean,
So it's interesting times. I mean, you got to think, if something drops for us, it's not, we're replacement policies. So our goal is to make the customer whole, get them what they purchased. And so if something drops, it's not terrible for us as the insurer. And it's not terrible for the customer either. They're getting back what they lost or, had damage or stolen, et cetera. But long term, it's a little frightening because insurance industry is a lot of projections and financial projections. So it's tough to project where that market is going to go. But lab created diamonds have been fully adopted across the industry. There's a lot of pushback, especially from
Are they almost too good? Because why would you get a VS2 if you can just, it's almost like, do they have to screw it up? I mean, don't they just to make it like, why not get the best? Everybody got the Hope Diamond, because you just got it out of the lab and the machine pumped it out. So
I mean, it's just like Earthmine. There's a market for everything, right? Yeah. So some people value size, some people value quality, some people value a mixture of both. So, and some people value, hey, I like knowing that this came out of the ground, and this process started millions of years ago. And some people, especially your Gen Z and your younger generations, they don't care at all, and they just want a good looking stone for inexpensive prices, and then save the rest of their...
Yeah, and I think it's a little more ethical. There's ethical cuts come into it. Certainly in black diamonds, the whole, a lot of it is, not well-founded, and a lot of it is absolutely true. But, you can't, there's not a one paintbrush for the whole thing. Obviously, there's different scenarios. But
there's a lot of back and forth on that too. A lot of people don't realize like how much energy and water it takes to make a lab created diamond. So there's both sides to that. But yeah, it's fully adopted. Like a lot of jewelers are like, hey, if someone's willing to buy it, I'll sell it. And where years ago it was there was kind of a pushback of like, hey, let's try and all be against this to protect the natural market. Had some of your bigger manufacturers really adopt it, and kind of your cornerstone manufacturers in the jewelry industry kind of saw where it was going and decided to adopt them, and that kind of trickles down to all your smaller retailers. So they're here to stay.
Yeah. So there's a big market now. Just percentage wise, how would a typical store like a D&D, what percentages the manufactured versus the ones coming out of the mine?
Yeah. So D&D, Crisella, we're a big, hey, let's stick to what got us to the dance, natural diamonds, but people are buying them, so let's stock some, and let's special order here and there. And yeah, I'd say 75-25 is probably a good number. 75% natural, 25% lab.
Yeah, interesting though. But
up more towards DC, you got definitely a bit more interested in the lab. Might just be a weird Fredericksburg thing, I don't know, but definitely a bigger mix of lab created the further north you go in Virginia.
So this is an interesting journey. I see a correlation between obviously insurance and sales. So you're even doing the wrestling and trying to do engineering got you into more liberal arts, which is more in tune with being able to communicate with people and stuff.
Right.
So if somebody wants to be in sales, what's the best path, do you think?
You know what? I think cutting your teeth on the phone is huge.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about in person. Like I do a lot of trade shows. Those are so easy for me. Like I'm a natural born trade show person.
Yeah.
Shake hands, talk, easy. Getting on the phone, learning how to just say, no matter what's going on, I got 2 hours of calls right now. A couple people are going to hang up on me, but I'm going to keep going and, not let it, that's tough. That's very hard to find. And that's what I got out of, my short time with Geico, and just cutting my teeth on the phone, learning how to handle those objections with someone that they talk to you a different way when you're not in front of them. Yeah. And learning how to connect with someone, through a microphone is difficult. So, for all you sales nerds out there, I would say get with the company, get on the phone, do something commission-based to start out, give you that extra incentive, and then just learn all the hacks of time blocking, objections, sales processes, and just the more reps of conversations you have, sooner or later, you see most instances, and you'll have a massive tool belt to handle any type of sales scenario.
Yeah, and doesn't necessarily hurt to be on the practice squad for 3.5 years. Get beat up every single day.
Wow,
and still show up. Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, so, all right. So, if people want to get a hold of you, Sam, and certainly you mentioned Bracco, and it's BRITE, just so they know Bright.co. Yep. But if they want to get a hold of you, what's your email?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll just throw out my Brightco email here. I guess it's sam.mcgregor, MACGREGOR. @bright.co, and that's BRITE.co. Happy to talk with anybody. So
yeah, and just the last plug, because you've been a customer for a while. How do you like Ring Spaces? How is it going for your remote from Bracco? Obviously they're in, I think, Chicago, you said.
Yep.
How has it been for you here? You've been productive?
Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, night and day. So I have a condo down the street here, and it's on the smaller side. So I had my office in my room.
Right.
and it mentally wasn't great for me. And so I just quickly went online and did a little Google search. And I mean, it was clear to get a tour from Ring Spaces. You know, I think we know who the competitor, the other guys are around town. It was very clear to get a tour here. And yeah, the facilities are great. I think I'm the biggest user of the espresso machine.
Free espressos, and cappuccinos, yeah.
I thought there was going to be a problem yesterday when someone was scaling the machine. Yeah, we had a little backup there. I was getting caffeine withdrawal.
Oh, it's descaling. Yeah. It's descaling day. That's very frustrating when we have to descale. 90 minutes of downtime.
Ring Spaces keeps their coffee machines very clean.
Yeah, we have a backup one too.
It was great. I mean, I think it's been right under a year or so, and honestly, my productivity just skyrocketed.
Oh, good.
My efficiency is great. You know, I rent a dedicated desk here. I think I started out with the hot desk, and after one day, I talked to you. I was like, hey, man, can you just set me up with my own desk? I'm here to stay. Yeah. You know, the people are great, too. Everybody kind of it's a nice little community here. So
it's a good work community.
For sure. And, like, it's good. You know, you can lock in, get your work done, step away. There's the cafe, the coffee, the kitchen, you know, a little bit of community. We do lunch, you know, together on Fridays and stuff like that. And it's right downtown. So walking distance to, you know, any place that you could want to go, like Maggie's, where I won them the local hockey cup last season. So,
yeah. And by the way, you mentioned hockey. So you play hockey over in Dixon Park, I guess. And we are sponsoring a team. So we're going to be called The Ringer.
The Ringer.
And obviously you have to be on that team. So whatever happens, whatever team you're on now, whoever's sponsoring you now, you were kissing them off. So because everybody wants a ringer on their team. And guess what, Sam? You're our ringer.
I'm that guy.
You're the ringer. Yeah, you're our ringer.
So I got to tell you, I had a plan. I ran out of time. You know, I'm always getting backed up on work. And I said, hey, Neil, 5 more minutes. I got to knock this out. I was gonna create a contract for you and surprise you with it on air here with a jersey design and a tracksuit design.
You got the right there,
you were pestering me to get over here, so I had to. I wanted to do it live and come out with the design, but let's just say I have a tracksuit and a Ringers jersey design in the queue.
Yeah. All right. Well, Michaela's our general manager here, and we were talking about the marketing budget, and she says we absolutely have to support the local hockey because it's a mile from here. We probably could walk down there to watch it.
Yeah.
And certainly we want a team full of ringers.
100%.
We just can't lose.
And I'll tell you what. So I got to give a shout out to my current team. So Team El Rodeo. And I am El Capitan Samuelito Diamante, Sammy Diamonds.
Formerly the Capitan El Rodeo.
So let me win another championship first, and then we'll do a redraft and a restructure.
Well, we're gonna take all the desks out of here for events and parties and things. And we want to have a hockey game.
Absolutely,
and we're gonna film it and
it's
gonna be great. And our ringers are we're gonna challenge other companies and stuff.
I was texting with I'll have to get Jack Sumler. And you've met Mike Drognak before, but we'll have to get them in here for the last. So great thing about Ring Spaces is they do a happy hour every fourth Thursday of the month.
Yeah, Thursday last Thursday of the month.
Yeah. So we'll have to get those guys in here, get you a formal contract, because I want to roll out the red carpet for you. This is not just another sponsor, No. This is special. So let's make a thing out of it. We'll have a formal contract, and we'll get the jersey design and the tracksuit design done for, I think that's next Thursday, right?
Last Thursday of the month, so I think we got two. Yeah, two more Thursdays.
We'll make it happen. Yep. And then, what was I going to
all talk? I haven't seen it yet, so I haven't seen the jersey. I didn't even see I used to have a tracksuit for Bracco. You have it on today, but not the right color. You had a much louder one, right? It was like a yellow or pink one or something.
No. So right now we have two. We have this version and then a black one with the same kind of design. But I have a third one in the queue.
Ringers.
We'll do a Ringers one. But shout out to our CEO, Dustin. I think he knows, not 100% sure, but I have a third track design in the queue. BG approved it, so,
Looking forward to it.
Don't yell at me about the invoice on that one.
Tape our logo over, so if you ask you for, 14 of them, you just, from Bracco, that we're sewing over our logo on it. And
then last thing about the hockey was I do want to highlight real quick, fxbghockey.com. Mike Dropnack and the team there, Brandon McVeigh, Jack Sumler, Skip, everyone, Cody. I know, don't kill me, guys. I know I'm leaving a couple guys out there, but they've been doing a great job for the local community. So they've hooked up with the Capitals and some other, programs, and I wish I could remember the name of the group up in Northern Virginia, but they donate gear. So anybody, any youth, you're welcome to come out. I actually help teach the Learn to Play and Learn to Skate classes Sunday afternoons. You can find the schedule. I want to say it's a 4 o'clock start time now. It just recently got moved back, but anyone's welcome to show up. The gear's free. So that's unheard of. And there's
FXBG Hockey. That's where they can get some more info.
Yep.
Is that .com?
.com,
oh,
yep.
FXBGhockey.com.
And don't kill me, Mike Dropnack. I think it's .com. It might be .org. If you just Google Fredericksburg Hockey, you're going to find it. So.
Yeah, that's great. And the last point, Caps, what do you think? Are they going to...
You know what?
It's going to be the most amazing series ever if they pull this out, or are they...
They're playing with my emotions, I know that much.
I know.
So I open my big fat mouth. I'm superstitious, so I don't like to talk on these things, Neil. But let's just say, I'm rooting for the guys. I have a good feeling. They're coming back to D.C. tomorrow night, right?
Yep.
So I think they're going to, let's get it done in D.C., take that momentum back to Raleigh, and then come back home for the dub and move on.
Yeah, and screw the Caniacs, whatever they are.
Yeah, those freaking guys. And
posers. Yeah,
Jordan
ridiculous.
Stahl makes me sick. Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, thank you for your time today.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being on
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Sam McGregor, we love having you as a customer. It was a great talk today. Thanks very much. And hopefully you can come back and join us again when we get a little further along. This
Count me in.
We're doing a handful of these. They should be out very, very shortly. But we appreciate you helping us today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Neil on Business. If today's episode hit home, do me a favor. Leave a review, share it with a friend, and subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. And if you're ready to lead with clarity, courage, and confidence, keep showing up. Until next time, stay sharp, stay focused, and keep building. Again, this is Neil Darling from Ring Spaces Studio, and this is Neil on Business. We'll see you next time.